Nearly 50,000 Americans were diagnosed with pancreatic cancer last year. That's according to the National Institutes of Health. Pancreatic cancer is relatively rare, only the 12th most common type of cancer, but it's the 4th leading cause of cancer death in the U.S. Now a Tampa hospital is one of only 2 in the country to test a new treatment for pancreatic cancer. In today's Sunday Conversation with the Tampa Bay Times, 10 News reporter Jenny Dean talks to Times health reporter Kathleen McGrory. The new hope for cancer patients.
The 5-year survival rate for pancreatic cancer is about 6%, so it is one of the most deadly forms of cancer. A lot of that has to do with anatomy, to be honest. The pancreas is an organ/gland that's deep in the abdomen. It's kind of hidden behind the stomach, and it's really hard for doctors to find tumors when they start to grow in the pancreas. More often than not, they're not detected until they start to interfere either with the digestive system or they've spread to other parts in the body.
So what's the conventional way of treating pancreatic cancer right now?
Well, the best case scenario is you can, go in and remove it via an operation. But again, because they're so hard to detect, really only about 20% are operable. So in most cases, what you're looking at is chemotherapy and radiation. Chemotherapy, just to kind of review, those are drugs that target rapidly dividing cells in the body, and they are often given through intravenous, an IV in the arm. But sometimes, as you know, they have very negative side effects, because they also go after other rapidly dividing cells like hair follicles and some of the cells in the GI tract. So while chemotherapy works very well for some forms of cancer, it's not so great for pancreatic cancer.
So not as effective. So what are the shortcomings of it? Just that you have to deal with all these side effects and it may not work.
Right, you absolutely do have to deal with the side effects. But on top of that, what we know about tumors in the pancreas, they tend to be very fibrous, they tend to be grisly, and it's very difficult to get those chemo drugs into the tumor for them to work.
So there's a new treatment now at Florida Hospital of Tampa. What is it and how is it different?
Yes, it's brand new, and it's kind of the idea is to target the tumor and to do a very targeted dose of chemotherapy. So it involves a device that's brand new. It's a catheter, and the catheter is inserted in the body either through the groin or perhaps through the arm, and it's snaked all the way through to the tumor, or to the artery that feeds the tumor. Once it gets into place, there are 2 balloons that they inflate. And what that does is that blocks the flow of blood into and out of the artery that feeds the tumor. And what the catheter then does is it releases an extremely high dose of chemo directly at the tumor. There are 2 benefits to doing this, and they're both pretty intuitive. One, you are able to just deliver an industrial dose of chemo right at the tumor, so more than you would otherwise be able to do, and it's targeted, so you know that all of that is going to the tumor. And 2, because these balloons have inflated, the chemo is not going elsewhere in the body like it otherwise would. So you don't have to deal with the same side effects.
And is it becoming effective to be able to treat it this way?
This device is brand new. It's literally brand new, and there are only 2 hospitals in the country that are using it right now. Florida Hospital Tampa is one of them. Florida Hospital Tampa, they're doing right now a research study where they have 12 patients. They're seeking another 12. But who are undergoing this type of treatment, and they're really kind of waiting to see what the data holds. In theory, the doctors think that this will work because it's a very, very high dose of chemo going directly to the tumor.
So probably less side effects then, if you're not just putting it right into the bloodstream intravenously, right?
That's what the thinking is, because when you do just put it into the bloodstream, it's able to travel throughout the body. And with this treatment, it stays in a targeted part of the body, and that way you can get a much higher dose.
That's pretty amazing. What are the patients that are going through this right now? What are they saying about it?
We had a long discussion with one of the patients. His name is David Allison. He's a 75-year-old retiree who lives in Oldsmar. He was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in the spring. Underwent a conventional course of chemo and radiation, and it was horrible for him. He lost 30 pounds. He was incredibly weak. The family was traveling, hours each day to get to the radiation treatments. And it wasn't helping to shrink the cancer all that much. He said to me that at one point he just felt like giving up. And then he was in touch with the surgeon at Florida Hospital Tampa who said to him, "Don't give up yet. We've got this experimental treatment and let's try that." And he's been doing it for the past couple weeks. He hasn't had the same type of side effects. You know, it's too soon to say how the tumor has responded, but he's feeling good and has a lot more hope than he did.
You can read more about those incredible new trials in today's Tampa Bay Times.